M8 SP62 Example 3. Solve the system of equations using elimination. So first things first is the goal of elimination is to get opposites. So I'm going to take my first equation and I'm just going to write it as 7x minus 8y is equivalent to 22. Then I will take the equation underneath that, negative 2x plus 3y is equal to negative 12. I have the numbers 7 and 2, 8 and 3, and I can really play with either of them, but I'm going to probably go with 7 and 2 because those seem a little bit less extreme than 8 and 3. Again, you can deal with 8 and 3, and in fact, I'll show you both ways just so you have kind of an idea of how to move forward when you have to multiply both equations. So if I have 7 and 2, if I count by multiples of 2, that would be 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12, and then 14. And then the next multiple of 7 is 14. So if I'm using these two numbers, 2 and 7 will both land on 14. Now, if I switch over and I use 8 and 3, and again, just to clarify, I'm ignoring the fact that some are positive and negative, and I'm just dealing with finding the common number. The multiples of 3 would be 6, 9, 12, 15. Then I guess if you're wondering, like, well, when's it going to land on 8? I could do a couple multiples of 8. The next multiple of 8 would be 16, followed by 24. Okay, continuing down here, so this is 15, this would be 18, we're getting closer, 21, and then finally 24. So the common number if you use 8 and 3 would actually be 24. And again, there's nothing wrong with using 24 or 14. It's whatever seems easiest for you, whatever clicks best. I'm going to use 14 because I think that's slightly more manageable to deal with. So I'm going to start by rewriting both of the equations over here. Since this is a positive 7x, my goal is I would like to turn that into a positive 14x, which means that if we want to eliminate, the opposite of 14x would be negative 14x. Now, coming back over to here, what would I multiply 7x by to turn it into 14x? And if you said 2, you're going to do just fine. So 2 distributed to 7x is 14x. 2 distributed to negative 8y is negative 16y. And then finally, 2 distributed over to 2 distributed to 22 is actually 44. And using the arrows is a good way to make sure that you distribute 2 fully through to each term in the parentheses. Now the second equation, I need to turn negative 2x into a negative 14x. It's negative already, so we don't need to deal with the negative sign, but I do need to multiply it by 7, because 7 times negative 2x is negative 14x. Got that? 7 times 3y results in 21y. And then finally, 7 distributed all the way over to the negative 12, that's going to give us a negative 84. And now, in fact, we do have opposites. Notice that we have 14x and negative 14x, and we'll start simplifying by canceling those out. Negative 16y and 21y will result in 5y. 44 minus 84 results in negative 40, and then we'll divide by 5 on each side. So y is equal to negative 8. Now what I'd like to do is I'm going to take this negative 8, and I can plug it either into the top one or the bottom one. I think the bottom one is a little bit easier, so I'm going to do with that. But again, you can do either one. So I've got negative 2x plus 3, parentheses, and again, y is equal to negative 8. So I can put negative 8 in place of y. Let's see, that's negative 12. Sorry. So to clarify, negative 2x plus 3, parentheses, negative 8 equals negative 12. Again, that's the second equation. I'll distribute 3 to negative 8 to result in negative 24 to get rid of the parentheses. Bring down the negative 2x. Then I'll isolate this negative 2x by adding 24 to each side of the equation. Again, opposites, that's going to cancel. So negative 2x is equal to a positive 12. And then I'm going to divide by a negative 2 on each side. So x is equal to negative 6. Now that we have our final answer, I'm going to put x comma y inside the parentheses. My x is negative 6 and my y value is negative 8. And let's box that because that is our final answer. And that's our final example for example 3. Thanks for watching. Thanks for taking good notes. And I appreciate your hard work.